a girl who was once called the chaos of the city. Today people consider the dust of her feet as a blessing. A name that people once wanted to forget, today rises on every tongue like a prayer. But the real story begins from there, where light clashes with darkness. Are you ready to hear the cruelty of time? In ancient times, in a city of Yemen, lived a young man named Raheel. He was the son of a poor but honest and pious merchant. Every day he passed through the market, where people were only chasing beauty and wealth. Raheel always prayed, "O Allah, save me from trials." In the same city lived three sisters: Zarqa, the eldest, wise and beautiful; Sana, gentle-natured and always on her rosary; and Laila, whose beauty was famous throughout the city. All three had come under the eyes of a wild and wealthy tribe. One day when Raheel passed through the market, his eyes fell on Laila. Laila also saw him, but there was a difference between the two, one of modesty, the other of temptation. Raheel immediately lowered his gaze and repented in his heart. But from that moment something changed in Laila's heart. For the first time, Laila had seen indifference from a boy. She said to her sisters, "That boy seems like he's from another world." Zarqa smiled and said, "Maybe he's in search of something truly valuable." Sana only said, "There was light on his face." There was an old tradition in that city. Whoever girl first completes the journey of trust is made the queen of the city. Laila announced, "I will go on this journey. I will prove that I'm not just beauty." Zarqa tried to stop her. Sana prayed, and Raheel stayed silent. The journey of trust was according to an old book, which had 3 stages: a test of pure intention, a fearful step of existence, and the moment of decision, where only truth or falsehood remains. Laila began preparations, but Raheel also started thinking. Zarqa secretly met Raheel. She said, "She doesn't just deserve beauty, she needs to learn some real lessons." Raheel said, "I won't let her fall, but with patience." At that very time, a tribal chief entered the city like a pharaoh. Chief Kashif. He used to mislead the girls of the city with the glitter of wealth. First stage. Laila was left in a dark cave. She was told, "Here, speaking the truth is forbidden, or you will lose your life." But even after being wounded, Laila only spoke the truth. The stones of the cave began to melt, and the first path opened. The second stage. She was made to stand before a mirror. The mirror showed lies, more beautiful than the real face. Laila said, "What I am inside, that is my true identity." The mirror broke, light flashed, and Laila passed the second stage. During this journey, Sana prayed for her every day. Zarqa started educating women in the city. Raheel secretly helped Laila at every stage, but Laila never knew about his help. Third stage. The decision. There, Kashif captured Laila and said, "Either come with me or be destroyed." Laila only said, "I can sell my body, not my soul." Kashif drew his sword, but just then a lightning struck. Raheel saved Laila, but got wounded himself. For the first time, Laila shed tears for someone. Kashif fell, and his arrogance turned to dust. The third stage, loyalty and patience, was completed. The elders of the city announced, "Laila has completed the journey." But Laila said, "I don't want to become queen. I want to remain Laila." She advanced Zarqa's school. Sana built a religious institute and started teaching the Quran herself. Raheel recovered, but said nothing. Laila went to his house and said, "I couldn't understand you. You are a true man." Raheel smiled and said, "You have become a true woman with modesty and loyalty." Their marriage vows echoed throughout the city. Laila and Raheel's marriage was held in a very simple manner in the mosque. Zarqa gave the sermon, Sana arranged the prayers. The people of the city were surprised that such a beautiful girl chose faith and modesty over wealth and fame. Raheel said, "Honor comes from Allah, not people." After Kashif's downfall, a rebellion arose in his tribe. They replaced their chief and a system of education and justice came. Zarqa started teaching them the translation of the Quran. Sana gave lessons to women on modesty and morals. Laila began a new journey, teaching self-respect and tolerance to the girls of the city. She said, "Beauty is an ornament, but character is the real jewel." People laughed at first, then cried at her words. Now her face shone with light, not temptation, only peace. One day a stranger came from another city. His name was Haris, a bookseller. He asked Laila, "Are you the one who was once the gift of temptation?" Laila smiled and said, "I was, but not anymore." Haris said, "My soul found peace through you." Haris became friends with Raheel. They spoke of knowledge and religion. Raheel gave him a book, Degrees of Modesty. Haris said, "This is not a book, it's a mirror that shows the face inside." One night, Sana saw a dream, a glowing tower where their three sisters stood. Behind them was darkness, ahead of them was light. She said, "Laila, we should now go to a new city." Zarqa agreed. It was time for a new calling. All three sisters and Raheel moved to a new city called Al-Qaria. Here, people were deeply immersed in outward beauty. Laila built a school near the mosque where only women would come to learn. Raheel began writing a book, The Cruelty of Time. A young girl named Najla came to the school. She was very beautiful and lost. She said, "I want to conquer the world with my eyes." Laila looked at her and said, "Your eyes hold wealth, but your soul holds emptiness." Najla cried and changed from that very day. Najla now studied the Quran daily, wore a veil, and spoke less to people. People in the city asked, "What kind of magic does Laila have?" Zarqa would say, "This is the light of faith. It can rise in every heart. You just need to touch the truth once." One night, Haris said to Raheel, "I want to marry Laila." Raheel smiled. "She is now the teacher of all. Only Allah and her prayer will decide." Haris showed the example of patience and stayed in prayer. Laila said nothing to anyone, but her heart was restless. In that city, there was an old tomb where people went for magic. One day, Najla heard that some women were tying charms there instead of praying. She told Laila. Laila said, "Let's go light the lamp of truth there." All three sisters reached the tomb. There, an old woman and some others were chanting around fire. Laila said loudly, "This is all shirk. Allah hears everything." A woman screamed, "Who are you to stop us?" Laila only recited the kalima, and the lamp inside the tomb went out. That night was stormy, but Laila's voice was peaceful. People of the city saw a river of light flow from the tomb. The next day, people stopped going to the tomb and gathered at the mosque instead. Haris said, "She is not a woman. She is a mercy." The city's judge came to Laila. "We want you to become the daughter of light for this city." Laila said, "I only wish to remain a servant of Allah." But people lifted her status in their hearts. They became more fans of her knowledge than her beauty. Raheel completed his book, and the last page said, "A true woman is not a temptation, but a mercy." When beauty is wrapped in character, nothing shines brighter. He handed that page to Laila. Laila gave that page to Sana and said, "Now my story is complete." Sana asked, "Then what will you do now?" Laila said, "I will go far away, where no one knows me." Raheel stayed silent, but his tears said it all. A year later, Laila returned, in old clothes, as a traveler. Everyone in the city recognized her. She said, I just came to see, was my journey wasted? People said, your steps have brought light to this city. Najla had now become like Laila. She gave lessons, explained the Quran. One day she said, I saw in a dream that I had become Laila. He smiled at Laila. You are the real Laila, not in beauty, but in soul. Najla cried and hugged Laila.
Zarqa wrote an old book, Daughters of Light, the story of the three sisters. Sana became the head of the mosque and started Quran interpretation. Laila left the city. She used to say, wherever people are in need, I am there. Raheel asked her to stay, but she said, light never stops. Once again, chaos rose in the city. New people brought new temptations. People were worried. Where is Laila? A child said, I saw her praying near the forest edge. Raheel went there, but found only a flag. There is no God but Allah. Raheel lifted the flag and saw a small book underneath. It said, Final lesson. When the soul is pure, the place will surely be granted. Inside the book was a message from Laila. I am alive, wherever knowledge and modesty live. People of the city built a tower of light in Laila's memory. 3 words were written on the tower.
Modesty, loyalty, trust in Allah.
Every evening, people went there to pray. Raheel would quietly visit daily and recite Fatiha for Laila. One day, a traveling girl came to the city. Her face was glowing but unfamiliar. She said, I am Laila's student. She is now spreading light in another city. Najla asked her, when will she return? The girl only said, when you become Laila. Najla took charge of the school and started leading women's gatherings. Zarqa said, you have Laila's soul in you. Sana smiled and said, this soul passes from one to another. Only character is necessary. The school was named Light of the Trial, Noor e Sitam. Raheel wrote his final page. On it was, the girl people once saw as a temptation was, in truth, the cure to temptation. He buried the book in the tower. People say, this city is no longer just a place of knowledge, but of spirit. From surrounding areas, people began coming to the city for intellectual and spiritual revival. Women left their homes to gain knowledge, and on everyone's tongue was only one name, Laila, whom no one had seen, but who lived in every heart. Sana completed the interpretation of the Quran. The final lesson was Surah Nur. She said, Allah is the light of all those who keep their soul pure. There were tears in eyes, light in hearts. Everyone listened to the lesson in tears. Zarqa made a poor girl, Maryam, her successor. Maryam was only 16, but her thinking was deeper than any timid woman. She said, I want to become Laila too. Zarqa said, then the first step, surrender yourself to Allah. For the first time, Maryam didn't apply kohl to her eyes. She wore a veil for the first time and sat at the front in class. Najla gave her a lesson. True beauty is inside. Maryam's face glowed with light. Raheel had now grown old, his beard white, but heart still bright. One day, he sat in the school courtyard and said, I want to meet Laila again. Just then, a flag waved in the wind. It read, the time has come. That night, Raheel saw Laila in a dream, in a luminous form. She said, you've taught the lesson to all, now come with me. Raheel closed his eyes and walked into a light. By morning, his body was full of peace. Fatiha was offered in the mosque. Najla built a library next to the school. She named it Raheel and Laila. Zarqa set up a trust for poor girls to gain education. Sana started a Quran gathering in the Tower of Light. The 3 sisters had now become an example for the city. Years later, a young boy came to the city and said, I am Laila's grandson. My grandmother is now in paradise. People wept and accepted the boy as her successor. His face carried Laila's essence, light, modesty, and knowledge. Every corner of the school now spread light. Laila was still there, in every book, every lesson, every prayer. People said, she is gone, but her light remains. She was not a temptation, she was the answer to temptation. Final scene, an old flag with just 3 words written: modesty, character, trust in Allah. A voice echoes. Whoever adopts these 3, Laila lives in them. The story does not end, because light never stops. In the peaceful moments of the night, in one corner of the old school, a little girl was reading a lesson from the Quran. Behind her was the same flag: modesty, character, trust in Allah. Laila's soul now lived in every heart that embraced the truth. The true message of this story was: beauty fades, but character is eternal. Wealth only fills hands, but knowledge enlightens the soul. And when a girl protects her honor and modesty, she doesn't just shine herself. She becomes the guiding light of society. Laila's journey didn't end. Her light still glows in every heart that seeks a path to Allah. If you liked this story, then please like it. Your one share could bring light into someone else's life. And if you want more such heart-touching stories, then don't forget to subscribe and do press the bell icon so that this journey of light never stops.